Welcome to another episode of Coffee with the Critters, where we live stream every Sunday morning at 9:30 a.m. Eastern. You can find us here on the Animal Behavior Center's Facebook page and on our website, which is theanimalbehaviorcenter.com. There you will find all of our online services, our events, our memberships, webinars, what have you. You can also contact me personally at Lara, Lara, at theanimalbehaviorcenter.com. And for those that may be new, my name is Laura Joseph, owner of the Animal Behavior Center, where we teach all people all over the world through our online services how to interact with animals, and train them, teach them new behaviors through respect and through applied behavior analysis, the science of behavior. So, in general, we help you improve the animal's quality of life through training, behavior modification, and enrichment, focusing on the science of behavior. So, good morning. Um, let's go ahead and get started. So, this episode is Nails to Tails, which the viewers have named this a couple of years ago, where it is where I try to clean off my desktop. My phone is full of photos, training videos, everything, and I have a hard time staying organized. Anybody that knows me knows that, as far as organizing my training photos and videos. Um, so we have a nails to tails where I show you what's currently on my phone or what's on my desktop that needs filed away. So let's go ahead and get started with these are the things I have done this past week, besides take amazing photos of our lemurs. This is Dill, our ring-tailed lemur, and I'll update you a little bit on what we have been training the lemurs this week, and it's pretty cool. We just gave a training demonstration for the public yesterday, and we had a large tour come through this week for Employee Appreciation Day, and we showed them how we train our animals, why we do what we do, and how we keep animal welfare at the most important part of our mission in what we do here at the Animal Behavior Center. So I showed them we're doing color coordination with the lemurs, and I did a demonstration with this yesterday as well, and it drew quite the crowd. Why do we do this? Why do we want to teach the lemurs different colors? Numerous different reasons. Number one, for enrichment, because studies show if you're actually using positive reinforcement training, it's the animal's preferred form of enrichment. I know that for a fact. That is why I train. Because I entered this field through enriching animal enclosures and environments. So we've got the show off here, Gherkin, and I'm teaching him to touch the yellow plate versus the blue plate. We are going places with this. Good morning, Sylvia, Ray, Beth, Regina. Good morning, everybody. And then I wanted to make sure he clearly understood I'm asking you to touch the yellow. So we have to be very careful that we're not unknowingly cueing the animal to touch a particular color. Um, when we're trying to teach color differentiation. So I've got the yellow, I've got the blue, and am I always holding the yellow? Why is that doing that? Am I always holding the yellow closer to the animal? Maybe in the beginning during shaping, I am to set the animal up for success, but then I want to move the yellow to where it's harder to reach. It's easier to touch the blue. And if he touches the blue, I'm not going to tell him no. I'm not going to deliver any type of punishment. Well, or I'm not going to deliver any type of aversive. Um, so we do focus on the positive reinforcement. The reason I hesitated on the punishment is because there's different types of punishment. Negative punishment, which is temporary timeout from positive reinforcement, which I do use when I'm shaping behavior. That just means nothing happens. So I move the yellow around to make it harder for him to touch. And when he makes that decision, we can use the four main factors of reinforcer effectiveness to convey that message. This is the one I'm asking you to touch. So then I sat them both down on the table, and then I'm constantly moving them around. Now I'm to the point where I'm moving them to different parts of the enclosure, and I'm raising the color that I want him to touch, and he's going over and touching it in a different part of the enclosure. So that is one of several things I'm training this week. Another thing that we haven't, this is just on my phone and I forgot to mention it or posted it in any of my online memberships like the Parrot Project, but this is Tori um, and me. This is Coco, our umbrella cockatoo, who doesn't like long sticks, so we move him around on a crate. And we move him from his cage to his play stand, wherever. Coco cannot fly um, just because he can't. He's old. He can't extend his wings out. So we don't encourage, we are really careful to make him not want to fly, because if he flies off his play stand, he just crashes and he can get hurt. He can hurt his beak, he can hurt his keel. So I'm teaching Tori how to move Coco. And I have recorded every step of the way. I just forgot it was on my phone. There's different things Tori's doing throughout the day while I'm not there to build that relationship with Coco. But when I'm trying to move an animal where the animal is used to just me doing a particular behavior, I will slowly shape that behavior of introducing another person. So Tori is calling Coco down off his play stand onto his crate 3 times a day to get him used to her delivering the reinforcer, which in this instance is banana baby food in the syringe, which she's holding. And then we're slowly transitioning. I'm pairing Tori with me. And then we're slowly transitioning where it's going to be Tori slowly taking over things, and I'm going to start backing myself out. And I want to be very careful with this because Coco can move very fast, and Coco can, if he's nervous, he's going to bite you. And believe me, it doesn't feel good. This is another video I just found on my phone this a training session. And I wanted to show, this is teaching DC, the Moluccan cockatoo that's in for training. I wanted to show this particular screenshot because what I'm doing is I'm training him a head target, and I wanted to show this is where you teach an animal, and I'll teach this with numerous different species of animal, to when I put my hand here, I want you to stick your head underneath it and keep it there and not move until cued to do otherwise. This can help prepare for veterinary exams if you've got to touch the animal. What it does is teaches the animal where you want its head to be. And it can be the beginning stages of hey, Sheila, hey, April. It can be the beginning stages of teaching a station, which means just stay here, or a target with duration. A station is a target with duration. Stay in this position. We were just talking about this the other day about teaching if you're going to take a dog to a vet clinic. There's a lot, any animal to a vet clinic. There's a lot of different things you can do. And one is target its eyes to an object. And if its eyes are on it's an object, it's likely not going to move its head. This way, the veterinarian can move around the animal's body and do the exam. But I wanted to show this photo particularly because this was a screenshot from the beginning of the training session. And I wanted to show this is clear behavior from a Moluccan cockatoo that is showing he is not comfortable with what I'm asking. I've got my hand, moving my hand above his head. He's clearly moving away from it. So anyways, through Sylvia says, love stations, so many different benefits. Absolutely. Stations, targets, all of this. Um, and I wanted to show through this. How long was this training session? Probably about 45 seconds, maybe a minute and a half. This is where we ended it. I've got my hand on his head, and how I did it was through um, rates of reinforcement. So I want to let him know what I'm asking of him. So I moved the reinforcer in, and then I put my hand over his head, and before he could pull his head away, boom, I delivered the reinforcer again, boom. And then I slowly fade out the delivery and space out the delivery of the um, reinforcer, so to the point where I get the behavior that I want. Next thing up, this was fun. This was fun. This week was an extremely hot week here in Michigan, in Ohio. Very hot, very humid. The animals outside, we were really focused on how comfortable they were by checking on them numerous times a day. So this is Bruce on the inside in his indoor enclosure, because his outdoor enclosure is still being worked on. We're focusing on different types of enrichment for alligators. Wait until you see what we have in mind. I just thought about this week, and I was like, this will be amazing. But it derived from me experimenting with enrichment through the different photos you're going to see right now. I see alligators interacting with waterfalls. I also see them enjoying like just stationary water. They don't want any movement in the water. So I'm trying to figure out how to incorporate different types of enrichment for them. This was me filling Bruce's pond this week. A lot of people that follow the work that we do, even through our nonprofit, the Sam I Can Foundation, where you'll see a lot of photos and videos of Bruce, know that he interacts with the hose and the waterfall when we put it in. So because this week was super hot, what we did was we froze buckets of water and then threw them in the gator pond, because we knew that gator pond was too warm. And I could tell by how fast the ice melted. But there's different things we do throughout the week to keep the gator pond a little cooler. Even though gators do like their water warmer, I can tell by their behavior, and I watch these guys closely on camera and off camera, where they're too warm. So I threw these buckets of ice in with Elvis, and he is such a ham. And he started interacting with them. He started chasing them around the pond, and then he started biting on them, and he would take them underwater. So it gave me an idea for another form of enrichment, and you're going to have to wait and see what that is, because I can't wait to show it to you. So the next thing I have, you guys saw this in last week's Coffee with the Critters, but I want to talk about contingency. One of the four main factors of reinforcer effectiveness. Contingency is when we teach an animal, if this behavior, then this happens. The consequence that is delivered is based on the behavior given. So, in particular, with Jenks, the timber wolf that we're one of the two timber wolves that we're crate training, I wanted to show he's in the crate with both doors shut. And I'm standing away from him for longer periods of time and walking back up. The reason he's crouched down like this is because I'm delivering the reinforcer, which is a scratch on the back and all the way down his spine. That receiving that is contingent on being in the crate with both doors shut while I'm shaping duration. So to show this to you. Here I have both the doors open and I'm trying to call him out. Now I have a different problem. He doesn't want to come out of the crate. That's a good problem to have. But where do we go from here for training? That is when you start using variety of enrichment and size of enrichment. So next is Noodle. In the parrot project, we're talking about voluntary medication training for parrots. And this is Noodle. He's here at my home, and I've got a ton of videos, recordings of different things I'm training him, but teaching some of the beginning steps of teaching medication training is just a target, a nose target, beak target. Um, so I want him touching the syringe, and this is before I have him open his mouth for the syringe. Then I will start delivering the medication. This is another training session I had talked about, but I wanted to talk about a behavior concern that I'm noticing. You guys hear me talk about those little red flags. Little red flags of behavior concerns a lot of people miss, and don't see that they're potential behavior concerns until they're a big behavior concern. What I want to focus on are those little red flags. We're crate training the alligators, Elvis and Priscilla. This is Elvis. Elvis is also, I have nicknamed him the sneaker, because if you ever been snuck up on by an alligator, they're really quiet. You don't even know they're there. That is a problem. Even though he may be sneaking up to me for asking me that he wants food, I need to know where he is. So um, I can't, if I'm focused on one alligator here in front of me, I can't have another one sneaking up beside me, coming up to say, hey, I want train two. Hey, I want the reinforcement too. And that's what Elvis is doing. So this is a behavior that has been trained, unknowingly or knowingly, or I just chose to ignore it and think it wasn't going to be a behavior concern, and it is. So I've gone back to basics with the two of these two, and what I'm doing is went back to the pond and am teaching them a station and am teaching them their names. Well, they already know their names, but I don't want, what I'm teaching them both to do is not move until I call you. This is going to help when I'm pulling them, asking them to come out of the water and go into their crates. So here, right before, I'm going Elvis, and then I'll put the target stick down, and then he comes up and opens his mouth. We teach them to open their mouth on cue so we can put the food in. And then I'll be like, okay, Priscilla, your turn. What's really cool, and I do have this on video, and if there's anything you guys want to ask me now. I've got a cram-packed day ahead of me, and I'm going to have to run after this coffee with the critters. But what's really cool with this is, so I'm teaching them a station in their pond. And that is where I want them to station until I call them. So what I'm doing is standing right in front of them. I hold my target stick up and be careful not to hold it down, because that is a communication tool to them. They know when they see that target stick to come up and open their mouth next to the target stick. So what I'm doing is holding the target stick up here, and I'll say, Elvis, and then I'll go like this and ask them to touch, pull the target stick up, Elvis or Priscilla, and then put the target stick down. I'm teaching them move when I call your name. And what's really cool, and this is on video, is I'm sitting there doing this for maybe a minute, and I pull my target stick up and I don't put it down, and I say Elvis, and he turns and starts moving. Then I put the target stick down, showing him where to go, pull it back up, Priscilla. Then she usually comes up like she's doing right here, and opens her mouth on cue. With that being said, you guys know Rocky's won that contest, Pints for Pets. I wanted to give you an update. His billboards are going up around the city of Toledo today. today. So we, as a couple of us from the center and anybody from the center who wants to go, let me know. I've got the list of billboards. We're going to run out and take a look at them. Um, and let's see. Oh, a couple other things that are coming up. You guys know that we have series of workshops. Our next workshop here at the Animal Behavior Center is being presented by myself and Dr. Jason Crean. And it's going to be on avian wellness, behavior training, and nutrition. The seats are already starting to fill, so if you are interested, sign up quickly. You can find that on our website at theanimalbehaviorcenter.com. We also have announced our live drop-in classes. Speaking of crate training, that is going to be on Tuesday, August 14th. And then if you have a screaming bird, we're going to do a drop-in class on how to effectively modify those behaviors. If you want to know more about the online learning that we have, you can take a look at our memberships. Also, pay attention to the Sam I Can Foundation that on our website and our Facebook page. And if you are interested in joining our amazing team, please feel free to get a hold of me. Like I said, we have an action-packed day today. We also have a guest coming in later today. I may live stream, but also Rocky has his first news interview coming up, and that will be before the Pints for Pets party in the contest that he won on August 16th. With that being said, happy August, everybody. Have a great weekend, and I will see you next weekend on Coffee with the Critters.